Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has reiterated his stance on the creation of state police. He said it is not an option at the moment. According to the president, the poor relationship between most local governments and their state governors across Nigeria is an indication that the state police system will not work in contemporary Nigeria. This comes on the heels of a mild drama that played out between the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and a police officer who led an operation to Magodo estate in Lagos in an attempt to enforce a Supreme Court judgment on the estate. The policeman refused to disengage from the scene and would not call his superiors as requested by the governor. Joining us right now is a human rights activist and a senior advocate of Nigeria, Mike Ozekhome. Chief Mike Ozekhome, the Akpakpa Vigi of Edo Kingdom. Thank you for joining us. You're welcome to Thisday Live, the Sunday talk show.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ruben Abati.
Well,
welcome, Nigerians.
Yeah. Very quickly, Chief Ozekhome, we have quite a cocktail of issues. But let's start with this issue of state police that was signposted by the experience of the governor of Lagos State when he went to Magodo Phase 2 here in Lagos to try to see how he could resolve a land dispute. And a chief superintendent of police stood up to him, his name is Abayomi Oyewole, and said he does not take instructions from the governor of Lagos. And that raised concerns about the role of chief security officers as they are otherwise defined. And the Southwest governors intervened in a statement issued by the governor of Ondo State, who is chairman of the Southwest Governors Forum. And then, of course, shortly after, the president also granted an interview to a media house where he said, look, state police is not an option because state governors have the tendency to behave in a tyrannical manner. What's your take? State police is not an option. So what is an option, particularly for persons who are calling for police reform?
Let me state this, and very emphatically and categorically, most lucidly, that state police is not only an option, it is actually an option whose time has come, whose time has birthed. Having state police is the urgency, not of today, but of yesterday. The Magodo incident that you refer to has merely thrown up this option of having state police. The reason is that sections 214 and 215 of the 1999 Constitution established the Nigerian Police Force, making the Inspector General Police the head of the police force, and then there's a Minister of Police Affairs, all of whom are responsible and answerable to the president. Surprisingly, ironically, Section 215, subsection 4 of the same Constitution makes the governor the chief security officer of his state to be able to give instructions to the commissioner of police. But what that section gave with the left hand, it immediately snatches away with the right hand by saying the commissioner of police, when giving such instructions by the governor, may decide to refer the matter to the Inspector General of Police or to any Minister of Police or Police Affairs who may be in position to control him. That means the governor is a mere bulldog that is toothless. It may only be able to bark. It cannot bite. And that is why, that was why another chief superintendent of police could defy a governor, the chief security officer of his own state, on the Magodo incident, because according to him, he was acting on the orders from above. The orders from above are obviously the Inspector General of Police and the Attorney General of the Federation, who said that a judgment of the Supreme Court of 2012 should be enforced. By the way, that judgment of the Supreme Court of 2012 arose from disputes that took place between 1984 and 1985. What the Supreme Court said was that the Shangisha landowners that were the original owners of the land, which the Lagos state government later took and partitioned and gave to Magodo residents, should have the option of first choosing from any allocation or reallocation to be made by the governor. It didn't say, the Supreme Court judgment did not say that they should go and dislodge the present occupants of that land, who are the Magodo phase 2 residents. So it was even a wrong interpretation. Look at it, Dr. Ruben, why this thing is dangerous. Assuming the governor, that is the chief security officer of the state, had of the raucous, the brouhaha, the commotion, the crisis going on in a part of his own state and kept quiet. And the Magodo residents, whose estate was blockaded, came out, for example, in full force to resist the police officers and the bailiffs that were deployed to the estate, and there was bloodshed. We will all again turn around and blame the governor for not enforcing security in his state. Because of that, he ran there and told the chief superintendent of police, stop, don't enforce this thing. We are already settling with these people. We have been in settlement mode since 2014. We have reached an advanced stage. They first rejected relocation to Diagrees. We are giving them again the Lekki axis. Supposing the governor did not do that. So what this has therefore done is to throw up the issue of state police and community policing to give power to the people. For example, what is the business of posting a policeman from Maiduguri to a place like Ogbea in Bayelsa State? The people that are creek people, they are swimmers, divers. What will a person, a police officer, born and brought up in Maiduguri know about a coastal area? On the other hand, what will an Ijaw man, a swimmer, a fisherman, who has become a policeman, know about fighting terrorism and crime in Maiduguri? So, allowing state police, bringing about community policing, we make the people to know themselves. If a policeman, for example, stops a man and demands for bribe, the man will tell him, I know your father. I'm going to report you to your father and to your mother that you demanded bribe from me. Crimes will easily be detected because we know who perpetrated what. Even the madmen in that place, we know who went out at what time. So if you permit me, as time goes on, I will give you the history of state or policing in Nigeria and the arguments that allowing governors to have state police will lead to abuse. Questions. Is the federal government not abusing the use of police? When Justice Kolawole of the then Federal High Court, now the Court of Appeal, gave an order that Dasuki, El Zazaki should be released from prison with his wife. And if you think they are dangerous elements, build a house for them, guard them. Did the Attorney General, the federal government, did they obey that court order? Of course, because the police was in their hands. Nobody could deploy any agency to enforce that judgment. Okay. What of Dasuki, the former National Security Advisor, who was ordered to be released several times? And the government ignored them. Why is the government selective in its observance of the rule of law when it matters to them? What was the interest of the Attorney General in going to enforce suddenly a 2012 judgment of the Supreme Court? Not yesterday. Did they read the purport, the import, the context, the exact import and wordings of that judgment?
Well,
Had they done that,
Chief
they
Ozekhome,
will know that in nowhere did the Supreme Court say they should go and take over Magodo Estate.
well, Chief Ozekhome, I mean, this is part of the argument. Whether or not the Attorney General of the Federation in getting involved acted ultra vires. But you know, of course, that under Section, I think, 287 of the Constitution, every order of court is to be enforced. But I get your point that you are making, that perhaps the Attorney General of the Federation was selective. But that's an opinion. Did he act ultra vires?
Well, the way we put it is this. The Office of Attorney General of the Federation is created under Section 150 of the Constitution. And it is Section 174 of the Constitution that gives him power to act in the best interest of the country. A judgment of the Supreme Court, like Court of Appeal, High Court, Federal High Court, should be enforced and obeyed by every other person across Nigeria. The question is, before going there with an armada of police, court bailiffs, on a judgment of 2012, on which, from what I have read, there's actually also another appeal at the Court of Appeal by people challenging the enforcement of that judgment. For example, did you use diplomatic engineering and rapprochement to call the governor of that state, the chief security officer, to say, hello, guy, what is happening to this judgment? Why has it not been enforced? We believe we are going to enforce this judgment. It has to be enforced. Then the governor may give him the flip side of the coin, because a one-sided coin is a bad tender. But suddenly moving police from Abuja and Lagos, because you are in control of it, under sections 214 and 215 of the Constitution. How did that advance democracy and our democratic precepts? It didn't. It shows to me recourse to brute force over a matter that happened about 9 years ago. It could have been solved without the uproar we saw. One party, the federal government, is trying to beat its chest and say and show who owns the power. By the way, Doctor, permit me therefore to let you know that state policing and the policing did not even start today under the 1999 Constitution, not even under Section 105 of the 1963 Constitution, which actually allowed the federal government to have a central police and for the then 3 regions to have state or regional police, including the Midwest region that was excised from Western region through popular referendum plebiscite on the 10th of August 1963. It was in 1861 that the first issue of policy started as a British colonial conquering conquest. Having conquered Lagos, they knew they needed to protect lives and property. So, in 1861, under Mr. Foote, they decided that there was a need to have a local police. Mr. Foote applied to the Foreign Office, which initially rejected it for economic and financial reasons. But Mr. McSasty, in 1861, saw the need. That was how the first police constabulary of 30 men was established in Lagos. By 1862, the following year, it went to 100 and then 600. By 1894, there was the need to now advance the police force to protect British interests. So they set up the Coast Police Force in Calabar in 1894. The real police force we're having in Nigeria today was set up in 1930 after after the British colonialists had also set up another constabulary force in 1888 in Lokoja. So, based on that, by Ordinance Number 4 of 1896, the British government decided to liberalize policing by allowing native police and the central police at the center. That was how you had the Egba police force and the Diagrees in the north. The police constabulary that was first set up in 1861 in Lagos, they were mainly ex-Hausa slaves from Sierra Leone that were brought in, which was a sign of British desire to conquer, a sense of conquest, because they knew they were not Yorubas. And the example of it was shown in 1865 when Egba and Idumu were attacked by this constabulary force, which led to a lot of brouhaha. So the 1963 Constitution actually recognized both central state, both central police and local policing. Why? What happened? The same way you complain that the local people were abusing the police, leading to Operation Wetier in the 60s in Ibadan, and the TV crisis, is the same way, and more than before, geometrically, not even arithmetically, the federal government is now abusing the use of police. Well, so you need state police. In America, can I say this?
Yes.
In America, you have about 9,000 different police type of agencies: federal, state, county council, bureau, city, tertiary institutions.
Well, Chief Ozekhome.
New York Police Department, Los Angeles Police Department. They are out there. That was why the Washington Metropolitan Police was able to resist invaders that wanted to invade the Capitol in Washington, D.C. during the time of Donald Trump.
Well, Chief
because there
Ozekhome,
was state police.
Yeah,
it was like the state police protected that place.
Chief Ozekhome, I get your comments on state police and why we need state police. But all of this has to do with security in Nigeria. And the president, in a most recent interview, says with regard to security, the economy, and also the fight against corruption, that he has done his best. Although he does not expect so much from Nigerians that they may not be kind to him after he leaves office, but that as far as he is concerned, he has done his best. Do you think so? And what do you think of the fact that despite the fact that we have the Super Tucano jets and the Nigerian Air Force has been quite proactive in the last few weeks, we had this ugly incident in Zamfara State where Bello Tuji, a bandit, now properly recognized by the federal government as a terrorist, moving with his men from one local government to the other, decided to kill up to about 200 people on his way. And then the president, who says, well, he's in charge, he's in control, now turns around to say, well, he commiserates. What do you think? Is the president doing his best?
With all respect to Mr. President, if that is his best, I want to say that his best is simply not enough at all. There is mayhem going across the country. For God's sake, Mr. President is the commander-in-chief, not just president, but commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He asked Nigerians to vote for him. In 2003, he did not win. In 2007, he persevered. He lost. In 2011, not only did he lose, he cried out publicly that he will not go for the presidency again. But by 2013, 2014, an amalgam of some interest groups and political parties came together and formed the APC. And the president won. American president, former Harry Truman, says the buck stops here. We will know this government as the Buhari government, not as Buhari Oshibanjo government or as Governor Matawale government. 3 cardinal programs that he anchored his campaign promises on were: number 1, security. And Nigerians believed him because he told them that as a retired military general, he would lead from the front. Now, in the first year of the administration, the Minister of Information, Mr. Lai Mohammed, came out and said Boko Haram had been degraded. They are only doing mop-up exercise. You and I know that Boko Haram was already there in 2015. But there was still enough security that the elections held in which President Buhari defeated Jonathan, who commendably, like a statesman, considered defeat, even while his votes were still being counted in Kano. But today, the governors in Northeast and even Niger State have cried out that Boko Haram and armed bandits are ravaging their states, planting flags as a sign of suzerainty and sovereignty on the soil, demanding for taxation, giving out passes and identity card. Dr. Ruben, apart from other factors, one of the greatest factors of a failed state is when non-state actors like Boko Haram dictate the pace of security to state actors of a legitimate government like the military and police, even with their Tucano jet. That's the surest sign of a failed state. It means the government is not in a position to put them off. The second area Mr. President had campaigned on was corruption. You and I know that the latest Transparency International, in their Anti-Corruption Perception Index, raised Nigeria as number 149 out of 180 most corrupt countries in the world, and the second most corrupt country in West Africa. In terms of economy, you and I know that when Nigeria's economy was rebased in 2015 by the World Bank and other agencies, with over $500 billion overtaking South Africa in the process, and becoming one of the 7 fastest growing economies in the world, that today, Nigeria is now rated as the poverty capital of the world, overtaking India. So if Mr. President, with this forlorn, this sad picture that is grotesque, that is a monstrous visage, believes that he has done his best, I think it is our duty to let Mr. President know that it is not true, sir. You have not done your best. People who may be surrounding Mr. President may be telling him what he wants to hear. It is trying times, difficult times, that great leaders emerge. President Dewitt Ainsewa, Winston Churchill of America, of Great Britain, Great President Abraham Lincoln, the man who abolished slave trade in 1865, for which he was promptly murdered, the man who gave that textbook definition of democracy in his Gettysburg Declaration on the 19th of November, 1863, as government of the people, by the people, and for the people. great leaders, people like Rosa Parks, a young black lady who sat in the box at Montgomery, Alabama, America, and the whites, after occupying the places already allocated to them, came to her and said, stand up for us. And she said, I am tired. I cannot. I will not stand up here. That led to killings of blacks at the major uprising, which led to the emergence of people like Martin Luther King Jr., who took the abolition of this discrimination to an higher altitude. So there is this common saying, Dr. Abati, that Rosa Parks sat so that Martin Luther King Jr. could walk, because he was walking on the streets protesting. Martin Luther King Jr. walked so that Obama could run. Obama ran and won so that our children could fly. I think Mr. President has not done enough at all.
Well, maybe the president is right.
Including the killing of over 200 we saw in Zamfara.
No, Chief, maybe the president
and that makes clearer the need for state police, well, more than ever before.
Chief Ozekhome, maybe the president is right in saying he doesn't have any high expectations in terms of Nigerians praising him after he has left office. The killings in Zamfara, I mean, his spokesperson immediately issued a statement to reassure Nigerians that, look, the government is not taking its eyes off the target, and that the government will do whatever it takes to ensure the security of lives and property. Well, apparently, you are not satisfied with that. But there's this other matter about the police, because we've been talking about police and the security situation in the country. The Auditor General issued a report, the Auditor General's office, indicating that the Nigerian police cannot account for over 178,000 arms and ammunition, and that the Inspector General of Police should account for that. Why will arms and ammunition just disappear? And we have this security situation in the country. Since that report was published, the hierarchy of the Nigerian police force has not uttered a word in defense. I don't know. Is it possible for arms and ammunition to just disappear from police armory? And yet we're saying state police. If we want state police, won't we complicate the situation further?
I do not think so. The question is, are the arms and ammunition, are they with state? Are they with the police in the state? It is the federal police that should be asked, where are these arms and ammunition? For what purpose are they being stockpiled? By who? And when will they be used? That is why some people have called for self-defense, that every Nigerian should also be allowed to have a gun to defend yourself. Because if 178,000 guns have suddenly disappeared, vamoosed into thin air, like Professor Pella's abracadabra of the more you look, the less you see, and the police hierarchy has not said a word on it, that is frightening, that is alarming. And Mr. President should not, with all respect, think that Nigerians will ululate and adore him and canonize him after leaving office if he fails in his presidency, where local bandits, kidnappers, are killing people across Nigeria. Herdsmen are invading farms, killing the people after grazing on their farm, raping their mothers, their daughters, their wives. Why kidnappers in Kaduna State not only kidnapping children, but demanding that the parents of these kidnapped children should purchase for them so as to nourish and keep alive these children for ransom, should buy for them. They actually quoted the number: bags of rice, bags of gari, bags of beans, tomatoes, tarodo, tatashe, palm oil, vegetable oil, salt. They even detected. So is Mr. President saying Nigerians should applaud him for this. When our roads are not safe, our schools are not safe, our air is not safe, our riverine areas are not safe, our markets are not safe, our mosques and churches are not safe. Is he saying Nigerians should applaud him the same way they applauded the Haraded is coming? One young man trekked, Trekked, walked all the way from Lagos to Abuja to celebrate and heralding President Buhari in 2015. Another young man rode a bicycle from Kaduna to Abuja. There was this euphoria, the kind of euphoria we saw the last time when MKO Abiola defeated Bashir Tofa in every nook and cranny of Nigeria, including military, army barracks, police barracks, even defeating Bashir Tofa in his Albasa, Jadi ward area of Kano State. That was the kind of euphoria. Everybody was happy that this was a rebirth of Nigeria, a regeneration of Nigeria. But we never saw him because he was murdered in mysterious circumstances, paying a price for redemptive messianism or messianic redemption. That national resurgimento that we expected never came. So the national resurgimento Nigerians were expecting from Mr. President is what they are saying we are not seeing. That inflation has quadrupled. That oil subsidy, which you said was not there, that it was fake, when you led other leading lights of APC in January 2012 to close down Lagos, Abuja, Oshogbo, Ogbomosho, and other areas in Ibadan. That you have since increased the price of fuel from the 97, you met it, Naira per liter, to about 165, and still threatening that the Naira that you met at about 165 to 180 in 2015 is today officially 400 and something Naira to the dollar, and in the black market is about 580 something to 590 something. Are you saying when you leave, Nigerians should applaud you for this when they are hungry? Mr. President, sir, there is grinding poverty. Take a drive, sir, incognito, in camouflage. Drive around Abuja and any other place in Nigeria, sir. You will see grinding poverty, hopelessness, helplessness, melancholy, sadness. Even the birds that perch, instead of singing beautiful songs, the birds' songs are muffled. There's sadness in the land, sir. Don't let people deceive you, Mr. President, sir. Do it by yourself. Just take a drive in the night in camouflage. Just go around. Then you will see what we are talking about. So, the issue of killing people in Zamfara, like in many other states, across the north, not only in Zamfara, even in the south, even in the southwest, leading to the formation of Amoteku and Eastern Network and all that. These are signs that the people are saying, let us have our own community policing, our own state police. In any case, is it not the governors that foot the bills of most of the police in their states? Have you not found out that? Go and check. Is it not the governors that buy them vehicles, give them money to sustain them? Is it the federal government? How much is the salary of a police officer? Google it. About 600 and something thousand naira per annum. Maybe with the recent 20% increase, it may now be up to 800,000 naira per annum. Is that a living wage under Chapter 2 of the Constitution? Is that a living wage for a person that is carrying a gun that you are saying should not be corrupt, should not waylay people on the roads and ask for bribe? You are paying him about 50 to 60,000 naira in a month, with inflation increasing every day. Come on, Dr. Abati. Let us interrogate issues. Let us talk truth to ourselves, because the Bible tells us that we should say down the truth, and the truth shall set you free. The truth is always the first casualty in any conversation. But gradually, like the slow tortoise, it will overtake that lie that is as fast as an impala, as a tiger. Let us tell each other the truth. Mr. President, sir, things are not looking up in Nigeria, sir. Things are not good. Let no one deceive you, sir. Don't leave Nigeria like this. You still have about 1.5 years to make some impact. Miracles do happen. You can show. After all, some people start a race very poorly, or in the middle, very poorly. Then towards the end, we have seen some 100 meters racers. Towards the end, suddenly surge and beat people who were already leading during the race. Can you surprise Nigerians with that sudden surge in the remaining 1.5 years before you must leave office compulsorily because it is constitutional, sir?
After 18 months in office, he has just appointed a chief economic advisor for his government. But quickly, you mentioned Bashir Tofa in connection with the 1993 presidential election. And that will be an appropriate point at which we can bring this conversation to a close. On page 62 of Thisday, our newspaper on Sunday today, there is a story about the place of Tofa in Nigerian history. What's your assessment of the place of the late Bashir Tofa in Nigerian history as we wrap up this conversation? Quickly. We have less than 3 minutes.
Bashir Tofa was a great Nigerian. After Suleiman, he was the last man standing. Great Nigerian, a peacemaker, a man who wrote about 8 books, though in Hausa, making him a great writer. A man who was defeated during the 1993 election by Alhaji Moshood Abiola on a Muslim ticket, because the running mate to Abiola was Alhaji Ambassador Babagana Kingibe. Nigerians didn't give a damn that this was a Muslim ticket. Nigeria was unified. They voted. Do we have a Nigeria like that today? This Nigeria that is horizontally and vertically divided with prebendalism, cronyism, sectionalism, favoritism, tribalism. A country that is operating what Claude Ake once called a disarticulate economy, where you produce what you don't consume and consume what you don't produce. Bashir Tofa later became, as a matter of fact, secretary to the NPN in Kano, and later National Financial Secretary to the NPN. And when he defeated about 3 others, he took Dr. Ugo to run with him during the presidency. He was a detribalized Nigeria. Although I didn't agree with his views, where he said that if he were Chief MKO, he said if he were Chief MKO Abiola, he would not accept the GCFR title given to him. I also agree with him, sorry, not disagree. I agree with him on that if I were Abiola, even Chief Ganifa, my mentor, I would have rejected the GCFR and GCON national honors respectively. But I am not them. They have died. So it was their people who took it. I agree with Tofa also on that. But where I disagree with him is where he said June 12th should not have been made Democracy Day. Should have been May 29. One can understand his sentiments. He said it was based on politics and sentiment. Rather, I believe it was sentimental on his part because he lost during that June 12th crisis. So aside that little disagreement I have with this great man, a Kanuri, and his marks show it, but of Kano extraction, he was a great Nigerian who believed in the unity and oneness of Nigeria, like Abiola that he contested against, who believed in the unity and oneness of Nigeria. But a Nigerian, not a Nigerian, where you have what Abiola called peace of the graveyard. Peace of the graveyard. The graveyard is the most peaceful place on earth. There is no place as peaceful as a cemetery. But that is not the kind of peace that we are looking for. The kind of peace we are looking for is peace that is garnished, built with egalitarianism, mutual coexistence, social justice, respect for one's religion and an ethnic group. That was Abiola. And Bashir Tofa, incidentally, believed that. And I believe that. I believe that we can have Nigeria of unity. But unity, don't tell me Nigeria is indivisible, indissoluble. It is indissoluble and indivisible for as long as you enthrone social justice, peace, equity, egalitarianism, good comfort, good conscience. Go and ask East Timor. Go and ask Southern Sudan and Sudan. Go and ask Eritrea and Ethiopia.
Well, on that
Go
note,
and ask Pakistan, India.
On that note,
and the countries that used to be one country. Go and ask USSR that broke down into about 15 republics for one great country.
On that note,
so we must nurture our unity jealously. By the grace of God, Nigeria will survive. God bless Nigeria in this 2022 and forever.
Thank you very much, Chief Ozekhome. I have no doubts that when you retire from your practice of law, Nollywood will be waiting for you. You will make another brilliant career in that direction from what you have demonstrated this afternoon on the program. Thank you very much for joining us on this event.
And also history. I will also history in the classroom.
Okay. Yeah, I know you're a multi-talented person, but thank you for joining us.